Listen.
Sweet dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something.
When hinges creak in doorless chambers, and strange and frightening sounds echo through the halls, whenever candlelights flicker, where the air is deathly still, that is the time when ghosts are present, practicing their terror with ghoulish delight. There's no turning back now.
Just after sundown, when darkness creeps over the land, the dark figures lurk in the shadows, the fangs glisten in the moonlight, and the ghosts of the world become restless. We begin our journey. Join us as we travel into the world of the paranormal, the supernatural, and the bizarre. On Nightwatch, with your hosts, Todd Sheets, Chris Weisbach, and Hugh McClanahan. Nightwatch.
And welcome to Nightwatch. I'm your host, as always, Todd Sheets, here with Johnny Reed.
Greetings.
And Hugh McClanahan.
What the heck?
I think I'm here.
I threw you for a loop that time, didn't I? Because I pointed at Hugh and said Johnny. I did that on purpose just to mess with you. I got to mess with you a little bit. I gotta mix it up.
You're going to be even eviler later when you play Johnny's song.
We got Johnny's theme song for later.
Nice.
Johnny's song.
Stick around for that, everybody. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, as you can hear, I sound a little weird. I've got a cold or something. I've got some kind of a thing. It's gotten into my esophagus here and making me sound kind of funny. I think it's because Amanda brought the plague into the studio and we all narrowly escaped death.
It's my wrath.
It's something bad, I tell you that.
How about no, you crazy Dutch bastard?
We say no, Amanda.
I'm
Just
glad this
keep it.
is radio or they'd be offended of what I just did.
I'm sure. We are so excited tonight because, well, what can I say about our first guest on the show tonight? Really, I mean, what can you say? One of the most incredible guys I've ever met from the entertainment industry. Just a talented chameleon of an actor. Reminds me of the likes of Johnny Depp, who he happens to be friends with, Gary Oldman, Vincent D'Onofrio, our very own Michael Biehn from last week. He fits right in there with these guys because he's a chameleon. He can do anything. And he does. And I got to play this little tribute before I introduce him.
Sometimes there's a man, and I'm talking about the dude here. Sometimes there's a man. Well, he's the man for his time and place. He fits right in there. And that's the dude in Los Angeles.
And that dude is Lew Temple. Everybody, welcome back to the show. Lew Temple!
Yay!
That was an amazing introduction, Todd. Thank you. Hello, boys. How is everybody? And Amanda, hello.
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 Yeah, I'm so happy to say hello to everybody this time of year, Thanksgiving. We're all thankful for all things, and we're excited for the holiday season. And, it just seems like things are getting better, you know?
It does.
I don't know what and where anyone is, but I bet if they looked around, they'd say, I'm better than this time last year.
I think you're right. I know I am, yeah.
And I feel like everybody can sort of, and even if you're not, if you think you are, you are. So, that's a good place to start. Thanks for having me. How's everybody?
We are great,
Good.
and we're even better now that you're here. I want to thank you right here in front of everybody worldwide for coming here and visiting us. Shortly after I was out of the hospital there, you dropped in and you hung out with Hugh and I and Brian David, and of course Amanda right here. When it was
that was a lot of fun.
It was.
It was good. It was good for the soul. It was good for all of us, and it was a good time of the year. Kansas City was buzzing with activity, and it was warm, hot, and it was a perfect Midwest summer's eve to be able to spend time with y'all. And Todd, you're doing much better health wise, and just I would guess mentally you're in a better place. Sometimes when you get knocked down, man, it can wear on your mind and as much as your physicality. So it takes a lot of energy and resource to get back up. But when you do, you're a hero, and as you are, you're a superhero now.
I appreciate that, man. I got my cape and everything. I'm ready to do it.
You've got two capes.
You've never taken that cape off. You know that. You've had that since you were 7.
That's true. It's true. Now, Lew, we celebrated here on the show. You weren't here with us at the day we celebrated, but when we got word that not only were you going to be among the cast of one of our favorite TV shows, Walking Dead, you also had been signed on for kind of a permanent member for the season. We rejoiced and had this amazing kind of a party for you right here on Nightwatch.
How did I miss that?
You were filming.
I'm always up for a party, no matter what. I'm like Robert King. Road goes on forever and the party never ends. Let's go. But this has been such a absolute gift and delight and experience, and really, I've had so many wonderful opportunities in my life and career, and this becomes one of those as well. And it's such a joy to go to work. I would start off by saying this is a really bare knuckles, hardworking group of people, and I think the proof's in the pudding every Sunday when we tune in. We have an expectation, and I can tell you firsthand and very personally that everybody, starting at the producer level, to the writer, to the cast of actors, to the crew, to post, everybody is giving it 150%, and that doesn't always happen. I've worked a fair share of television, and I can tell you that there's a lot of excess, and some people rest on their laurels, and that's never the case with The Walking Dead. Every day is a day to do better. Every day is a day that we can up the ante from what we've done last week. And I think it's showing, the episodes just keep cranking up, and they're different and varied, and it's been an incredible experience. I can't even tell you. I'm sure you can, being fans of the show, it's an experience to be a fan. It's an experience to be a viewer. I was telling someone the other day, the people that watch the show are part of the show, and I don't mean that. I mean that like a great sports franchise that has a fan base that support it, and when you play at home, they're that 12th man, or they're that support system that makes you better, and you have a need for them. We need the fan base, the audience, to do the type of show that we do, and it's very symbiotic how it works. It's very odd. It's bizarre. People say, why is this show so popular? And there is that. I'm not sure I can put my finger on what that is, but I think it's really special.
I would agree, and I think you hit something there when you talk about the relationship with the fans. I know for us, being fans of your work as well as fans of The Walking Dead, it was kind of like the best of both worlds. Like this last weekend, I was mad because you were all fixing the generator for most of the episode. I'm like, where's Lew? I want to see him fight.
So funny. We had some things that were built into that episode that we have come to figure out needed to be in another place. And then we had to cover the fact that some of the material that had done and wasn't going to show up in that episode, because naturally you're going to say, well, what happened to Axel? Did Axel get, is he this morning's lunch or what? And so it was kind of a cheap trick, but being the motorcycle mechanic, that just enlists you into all manner of handyman jobs, and the generators must fall right into that, along with cleaning the heads on the motorcycle, on the Triumph. But so that was kind of fun. But so someone says, well, yeah, you must have had the week off or something. Well, I actually didn't. I went to work, and then they will use that material in another episode, which is rather smart of them. So they figured out how to.
I was like, all right, I'm going to write to the producers right now, and I'm going to tell them, okay, Axel needs to take a couple of wrenches, tie them together with a rope, and do some wrench nunchaka action, and start running through there.
Yeah, man.
That's what I'm ready for.
I've enjoyed meeting Axel and getting to know him, and also I've enjoyed learning a lot from him and discovering him. And also, there's a lot of him that we're just unpeeling. There's a lot of Axel that isn't on the label, and that I think is that's one of the really delightful parts, not just in Axel's character, but everyone's character on the show, which I also think is what is relatable to fans, is that in this type of crisis, we don't know who we really are, or maybe what we bring to the party at that point in time is exactly who we really are. Maybe we're not all tamed, conscientious drivers. Maybe we're, rocket assault launchers or something. But I think any one of these characters from Glenn, that guy was delivering pizza, and now he's he's a badass kicking ass with a hot chick girlfriend. I'm not sure if he didn't have a zombie apocalypse. I'm not sure that he gets this. Rick is certainly risen to the occasion, or somewhere Daryl gets to be a hero, where otherwise he might just be another redneck that says, "Hold my beer, watch this."
Yeah, I do.
like Merle. So I feel like all those opportunities for our characters to rise and or fail or be real are the exact types of people that are watching the show, putting themselves in those shoes.
My three favorite characters are Glenn and Axel and of course Daryl. Those are my three favorite characters on the show. I like the mystery behind Axel, of course, and I like the fact that you're playing him. So you could come on there and read bubblegum cards, and I'd be happy to see you. I think Glenn's got that depth, and like you said, the character arc, and I think Daryl really has the largest character arc that I've seen on the show, because he started out, man, you just didn't know about that guy, and he's turned into like a real hero with the baby and everything, and he's really doing a good job.
Yeah, it's always so interesting, fellas, to join a show after it's had a run. Make no mistake, this show was really successful the first two seasons. Its first season, and then last season as well. And this season just feels like there is no mercy. I mean, you tell me, this season feels like we're watching stuff that would normally be season finale, in episode 3 and 4. We're watching, we finished going, oh man, how can it get any tighter than that? Wow. And yet it does. So I'm really proud to be for this season and where it's coming from. Plus, consider the fact you're introducing a whole, now, you graphic novel fans, of course, you knew Woodbury was coming. We all did. How it was going to integrate, you could only hope, and I think you're probably well pleased. But when you build something like Woodbury and you bring it back, that's a pilot. That's a whole new pilot episode. You're doing new introductions and new characters and new backstory, and you're writing. These are new looks and new sounds and new faces. And man, that's a whole different show, a whole different episode. That's amazing. And then weaving these two, there's a lot of work. I'm really proud of the writers, producers, directors, and cast and crew for being able to kind of maintain a high level of intensity and integrity. That's another thing, integrity. I will say this: Andrew Lincoln shows up to work every day, as does Norman Reedus, as does Scott Wilson and Lauren Cohen and Lew Temple, to say, hey, we worked hard yesterday. Someone else out there is working hard too and wants our job. Let's bring it today. Let's make today better than yesterday. So it's such a phenomenon. I've never been exposed to that. It's incredible. Here's for instance, and a real quick anecdote, really. The prisoner's first day of work, we were brought in, and it was just a shot. It was just a reveal. Great reveal. For all that it held, it was still in shot composition. It was, fairly simple in the design, and yet the entire cast that was in the scene previous to in taking Herschel's leg all showed up to work that day. They had already worked in the morning and been cut. And they all came back that day to perform that scene. All of them. And they did it for us to see, for us to be able to watch what the scene was, what we were actually going to be observing. So when you see that and you say, holy, it lands. What else can you say?
Right.
And so that was our introduction to The Walking Dead, to The Working Dead, and that set the bar. So I that's the kind of thing they do. That's how they roll, and wow. I'm just really lucky to be part of it. So
well, yeah, most movies you wouldn't. They would just have you reacting to a tennis ball or something. You wouldn't know what was going on.
Yeah, if you're doing Transformers, you're working with a tennis ball and a stick and a supermodel, one or the other. It's been a delight, and the stories are so. I think there's I think they're everyone's stories. I mean, I'm really interested in the fans' point of view, because I think that informs the show. I think there's this osmosis that goes between the production and the fan. I don't want to call them fans because they're part of the show. The audience, the observers, the fourth wall that sends out information that informs the production and how to go and how not to go. That's not to say that Glenn Mazzara isn't going to do exactly what he knows and what he wants. Don't kill T-Dog. Well, I don't want to either, but I got to do it. So the phenomena of the popularity of the show is attributable to so many things. Can't we look at our government or our 1%er, our bankers, the people that hold our mortgage notes, our credit cards, the price of gas? Aren't those all zombies? Is there not one of us that is dealing with somebody who's in a lot of trouble with illness, whether it be cancer or some disease where it's really scary, and it isn't that relatable to a zombie apocalypse? most of us desperate to survive in this world, not just our country, but in all over the world with poverty and disease and famine, and aren't we in this country alone? Don't we have a fair share after this last election of civil unrest, where we're not sure on what lines are gray as morality is concerned? So those are the things that I think that the audience is keenly aware of, and the production recognizes it and gives the audience a lot of credit for the intelligence of the audience. But these are the water cooler conversations. You know, is it okay to sleep with your husband's best friend if your husband's dead? You know, is it okay to bust into the church and steal everything that you can in order to survive? What are the rules in survival? What are the morality codes? You know. So anyway, that's my delight. We spend a lot of time on set talking about these things too.
Yeah, because I have to tell you, when because I started off reading the graphic novels, and I read the first four. Yeah, I read the first four in one sitting. And it was funny because somebody gave them to me, and I was like, man, I'm not really into zombie comics. I like zombie movies. And he's like, no, read it. And when you read it, it's not about zombies. It's how the people react to what was basically put forth in front of them.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's what I think is the greatest part, even, you know, that the show is carried over, that they don't make it about the zombies. They make it about how people react in that situation.
Yeah, it's all about the characters.
Which is great. It's great drama and great storytelling. It's been that way since we hit two rocks together and made a fire that we could sit around and tell stories. You know, it's ideal because we put ourselves into those shoes to walk, and that I think they're incredible. And they're not procedural. In other words, we know there's not a cookie-cutter ending because life doesn't have a cookie-cutter ending. We know that it's not going to always be happily ever after with a smart aleck comment at the end, you know, as the bad guy rides off in the police cruiser in the back. We know these are these are the reasons we're so dialed into this show. But there's a lot of good shows too. You know, there's a lot of good entertainment out there. But this one is landing today.
I want to celebrate Lew Temple here for a minute because honestly,
oh, thank you.
Well, you go from one extreme to another, Lew. You are like a chameleon, and I, you know, when I tell you that, you know, you remind me of Gary Oldman and Johnny Depp, you really do, because you can play anything. And I mean, I've been watching you in so many movies lately. I just was checking out The Killing Jar. I'm like, you're in everything, and people don't even sometimes recognize, hey, that's Lew. Hold on, let me go back, because you do it all.
Yeah, I like to. It's funny you mentioned Gary Oldman. I had a chance, even though we didn't work together in the movie Lawless, we did see each other and have a visit. And he has had an amazing career, obviously, and he's an amazing talent. But one of the things he talked about was taking roles, and he said that's what he focuses on, taking a role. And so it may not always be the best script, it may not always be the best production, it may not always be the best box office moneymaker, but first and foremost, it needs to be it needs to tickle his fancy bone, his art heart. And I think it shows. He does a lot of diverse work. So I sort of look at things from the opportunity of taking a swing outside of my box as best I can, you know, and that, you know, it's not always easy. I think sometimes you know, we get caught up in, you know, working on our weaknesses or whatever that is. I say to heck that. Work on your strength. You know, go out and be strong at what you're strong at. You know, that's what you bring to the world. So I do try to do what I do, but I also like to do it outside of the box as best I can. The Walking Dead's ideal because it's the right setting. It's rural. but it's also a lot about humanity, which is my favorite thing. I'm an observer of the inhabitants of this planet. So I love things of that nature. And if I can get it fuzzy, to coin a phrase of Gore Verbinski, and move off the map with it, then that's even that much better. But Axel's been a blast, you know. We're getting him in there. You're going to see now he's going to start finding a little comfort and ingratiating himself with the survivors. You'll see where he'll open up a little bit. We don't really know what's under that jumpsuit. You know, we see a little tattoo under there. Don't be surprised if Henry Rollins crawls out. You know, he is. He's got a lot. He's got a lot under the hood. So, what's really interesting for a show like this, guys, as opposed to a film where you need to get that out, you have to be landing all those things within minutes, because you've only got 90 of them or 96 minutes in a film to land this character arc. On this television show, we're afforded a bit more time, and not everything has to be landed with with one line.
Right. You
know, so a lot can be, but also you can fold, you can hold them. You don't have to show them all the time. So that's been a delightful experience as well. So I'm excited. I'm very proud to be on Walking Dead, and I love the cast, and I love the group of people that we work with. We're in Georgia. We film just outside of Atlanta in a little town called Sonoya, Georgia. It's beautiful. Georgia's been very hospitable, obviously. There's a lot being done in Georgia. They have an incredible tax incentive. We're in Georgia because the graphic novel, as you know, is built out of Georgia, so it's perfect.
Yep.
It's a great place to work. It's a good. Atlanta's a good town. You know what Atlanta is? It's a foodie town. There's a lot of good eats in Atlanta. I meet New Yorkers every day who have flown in to food tours, and there's a lot of high-end restaurants and high-end chefs and competitive cooking down there. It's really great. Obviously, they have great sports. They have a good public transit. You know, the MARTA ride. Yeah, it's a great place, great town. Halfway between Atlanta and Los Angeles is Kansas City.
Yep, a good place to be.
Which I hit this summer. I slipped up to Lawrence as well. Got a chance to spend some time there. You know, something I'm doing that's new, of course, because I'm going to be honest, because of The Walking Dead and because of the fan base, the audience base, the other producers of the show, known as the audience. I'm doing Twitter.
No way.
Brand new. Yeah, I know. I'm certainly not as good as Michael Rooker or Norman Reedus. They've kind of got hands-on knowledge of it, but I do it, and my handle is so rudimentary and so non-creative. It's Lew Temple Actor. Just at Lew Temple Actor.
We're going to be hitting you up now.
Yeah, please, everybody, please do hit me up, because I'm trying to stay in the mix or learn it. I actually have a lot of a real large learning curve in that social networking venue. I used to be, remember, Todd, you'd do a movie, you'd go out and do press, and then the movie would do okay, and you'd get some fan mail. And then there were conventions, so you used to go out and do those, you know, and then you'd meet the fans. Now you have to have a whole virtual whole virtual brand and persona, and no one's better at that than Norman Reedus. That guy, he could give lessons on that.
He's a tweet maniac.
I've recently I got a little break from the show on an episode, and I got to slip away and guiltily take another job in Hawaii.
Yes,
when I say guiltily, I just mean to say that it was incredible from the standpoint of being in Hawaii, which, for those of you who have never been, it's everything you've ever heard. For those of you who have been, I don't need to tell you. It was great in Oahu, in Honolulu, stayed in Waikiki on the beach at the Hilton Hawaiian Village. It's just fantastic. I will say that the television show Hawaii 5-0, I was doing a guest episode on that. I said, book it, Dano, to my agent, and and it's really great, and I give them a lot of credit because what they do, they're really good at, and they too work very hard, and it is also a very popular show. So I got to go in and play a bad guy, a villain, the protagonist for this episode, which will air the 17th of December. It will be their Christmas episode. I'm not the Grinch, but
nice,
but
almost.
I might be related to him. Yes.
Wow.
And I have an incredible fight scene in it. I mean, like a physical, like Matrix, like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon stuff that that's really beefy. I'm like, wow, I can still do that. Yeah, okay.
That's awesome.
So that was delightful, and of course they have a really good group as well, and Alex Lawson and Scott Kahn and Michelle Borth and Daniel Day Kim. They're all cool, and I got to work with a cool dude named George Takei. Who knows him?
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Yay. We love George.
Super, and he seems very available. I mean, in the form. I mean, well, I should say this: he's very approachable. Maybe he's got handlers that keep, but he was really, really a delightful dude, and he deserves to be able to do whatever he does or doesn't want to do. So, but that was certainly super cool, which I recall. I mean, every day that I go to work and work with Scott Wilson, I also recognize that's super cool. I mean, for someone like me who's a huge fan of his and has been, he's the guy as well that I sort of put in my wheelhouse. Wow, I could be like that guy. I mean, this guy is George Wilson from The Great Gatsby. Robert for The Pool. He is the suspect in The Heat of the Night with Rod Steiger and Sidney Poitier. Before that, he is with Robert Blake in the original in Cold Blood. I mean, so and now he's Herschel, the one-legged gambler.
Wow.
One-legged on The Walking Dead. So there's those opportunities that you get to work with incredible, really amazing people.
I'm glad you managed to get Hawaii 5-0, because that is one of the new remakes that's really good.
I agree.
Oh, I love that show. I watch it every week.
It's doing really well. Again, they have, they do their work, they do their homework, and they do it right. I think there's something to be said for what they do. Sometimes we come home from work and take our boots off, and we want to see the bad guy get his butt kicked by the good guy, and a couple of buddies have some quips, ribbing each other, and a pretty girl helping them out. I mean, doesn't that still play? It does for me.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so, and that's putting that's a real fly speck type of overview of what they do. They're certainly much smarter than that, but that show is incredibly popular, and that show is doing very well. I think they will. I think they'll be on as long as they wanted. I was interested that there was a few years ago there was another incarnation of Hawaii Five-0. It wasn't called Hawaii Five-0 because they only CBS owns the rights to Hawaii Five-0. But someone else tried to do a police procedural in Hawaii and it failed. I forget what the Blue something. I forget the name of it, but it did not do well. But we've certainly had some successful shows out of Hawaii. I mean, who remembers Magnum PI?
Of course.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. How that was cool. Hawaii. 5-0 was super cool. George Takei had actually been on the original Hawaii 5-0.
Yep.
As a guest star, which I think is super cool. Jack Lord was McGarrett, had that crazy hair, crazy 60s hair. You know, they would push in while he was on the balcony, and he'd do that hair swoop. It was awesome. So I think we have the fascination with Hawaii. Anyway, I digress incredibly, but I'm just recently returned from Hawaii, having done this episode on 5-0, and I enjoyed it very much. So I got to go moonlight from my regular gig on the Dead and flip that in. So we are just finishing up the season. For those of you out there, you shoot a season and then it airs. We don't actually shoot the night before, although it feels like it sometimes. And so we're coming into the hiatus and then pick back up in April to rock. So I'll look for a couple things to do over the course of the winter time. I'm going to go do a very interesting independent film about Army recruiting called The Fighting Season. I'm going to do it with an actor named Clayne Crawford, and it's really about recruiting kids into the military service and what sort of truths are not told to them as they enlist. It's got a good take on. There's a little Blue Night to it. You remember the Harvey Keitel film?
Right. Yeah.
There's a little element of that. Good cop, bad cop type thing.
That's cool.
So I will do that. I think after the first of the year, there's a film. Speaking of The Killing Jar, Mark Young, who directed and wrote The Killing Jar, he has a movie called Wicked Blood that could be a little Winch-own-ish for me. That I might do with James Frayne and Norman Reedus and Matt Dillon. So that would be kind of a cool dug-in group of guys to go rock with that.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to also do a movie called Night Moves, directed by Kelly Reichert. And she makes kind of these psychological mysteries, and this is a movie about a dam being used as what do they call it? Ecological terrorism.
Yeah.
Some granola crunchers decide to blow up a dam in Oregon in order to prove a point to the government, and in the course of doing that, someone gets hurt, and then they spin out. And 3 people in that are really cool. It's very arty. It's Jesse Eisenberg, Dakota Fanning, and Peter Sarsgaard. Not to be confused with Peter Skarsgård. Who's the gentleman on True Blood is Skarsgård, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So just trying to keep it real. I'm doing a book reading. Interesting book on tape with some rockers like Eddie Vedder and Chris Cornell and Dave Alvin from the Blasters, and also Damien Eccles, the young man who was imprisoned for several years. He's one of the West Memphis Three.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he's kind of the gothic kid, and sort of the root. And this is a book written by a gentleman named Danny Bland called "In Case We Die," and it's really dark and interesting. So he's going to put it out next year, but we're all reading a chapter because we like the book quite a bit. So we're just trying to keep interesting, trying to keep it interesting as always.
Of course.
Obviously, with The Walking Dead, I'll probably be out publicly a little bit more at some of the shows.
Cool.
I mean, I'll just be trying to, just wakeboard in Norman's, little path, little wake there, and do some flips with him. But
we'll need to try and get you back in Kansas City too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think so, because you have a show there that we originally met at.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
At the Crypticon, right?
That's it. Yep.
Kansas City Crypticon. Do you have another show?
We got Planet.
Yeah, we got Planet Comic-Con and a couple other things, or smaller things, and then I know that.
And all things with the show are well.
Well, of course, and you never know with us doing a movie, Lou. If you never know if time allows.
You can come back in. Hey, you know what? My mantra is show up. So if I'm invited, I show up. And you can ask a lot of filmmakers. They'll be like, "Wow, I never thought you'd do this." And I was like, again, I see the role and I go, "Yeah, I'm here." You know who else is good? Do y'all know John Grease? Was it Uncle Rico in Napoleon Dynamite?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great role.
I love
obviously,
that guy.
But he's done so much, and he shows up. He goes. You know who else shows up? Danny Trejo. That guy will come out and work, and I adore Danny. And
I love him.
He's very good. Danny's one of the really good improvisationalists that's out there. He can dance. He can play ball if it's thrown to him. I recently hung out with Malcolm McDowell. He was being honored in town, a Lifetime Achievement Award for a charity event. So I got to see him, and he seems well and busy as ever.
Oh yeah,
he's really cool as well.
It was always good to see him. I met Lisa Marie at that event. I'd never met her.
Wow.
And I find her very interesting. Also, I got to see their share of the Rob Zombie group, Daniel Harris and Christine Clay, and Scout Taylor Compton.
Oh, yeah.
Delightful, obviously.
Well, Danielle's a good buddy. Yeah, she knows us pretty well.
Yeah, I think y'all do really well. I've sat and listened to your interviews with just devoted attention. You have some really great conversations.
Well,
some really interesting. I think. I mean, just really, really interesting things going on, and I always appreciate those conversations, particularly with people who are still very active in the industry, but have had a perspective from the day,
Right.
And I think that's and because what that says is they've adapted and changed, which to me is what the industry or any industry is all about. I remember we did computers with DOS. Am I dating myself? Yeah,
No,
DOS.
no.
Yeah. Who remembers DOS?
Hugh still does it. I think Hugh's still there.
Yeah, I still do it.
You see, me and you, or floppy disks.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That's a medical condition now, but back in the day, man, that's how you got your material moved around. You didn't have a link. You had a floppy disk. You had to just write down your formula. Those were good times. I have my buddy Jesse Dayton has Zombex that's almost ready. I've never seen frame one of it. He's keeping it from me, but he assures me that it's delightful. Again, this is a zombie movie, Todd. This is based on the idea that the government, Katrina was a government, Hurricane Katrina was a government ploy so they could introduce post-traumatic stress syndrome drugs on a community in order to run it as a test market. And that whole thing in New Orleans, where the Superdome was all a foil for the government through a large pharmaceutical company. And the guy that I play is this radio talk show guy who scoops it, who's got it figured out, and he's trying to spread the word, and it all goes bad, and then it kind of becomes a road film, Zombieland. So it has some interesting earmarks, and I got Malcolm to come spend some time on that film, as well as Sid Haig and John Doe's in it, and
Corey Feldman. I think Corey's in that too.
Corey Feldman is in it, and Tom Araya.
Yep, from Slayer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. And so I feel like that'll lend itself to my zombie page that Amanda's going to build for me on Facebook.
That's right. And, that's right. Speaking of Amanda, I think she has a question for you. Amanda, you got a question in there?
Please, yes. Amanda. Just stop me from talking.
Oh, it's okay. This is the most important question. It's been burning inside of me for so long. Ever since I heard...
Who's married? He's married.
Hey, stop
yeah,
that.
Yes.
Ever since I heard Chandler's going to get an action figure, I want to know if we're going to be able to pick up our Lew Temple Axel action figures.
I would love to tell you yes, and I'd love to tell you when. I can tell you neither. Those are out of my pay grade. So I think what has to happen with Axel is, you know what the hardest thing with that, what they told me, is how are they going to build the mustache? Because they go, how are we going to make a toy with mustache wax? I'm like, that would be a really cool. That would be a really cool toy. G.I. Joe. Remember when G.I. Joe came out with the hair?
Yeah,
that was innovative. So maybe a greasy mustache is not out of the question.
Maybe we'll have to petition for it.
Yeah, we'll start a petition.
Please do the Axel action figure. And for all the fans that are listening, be assured I will work in You Follow Me more and more. We decided we didn't want to just land it and inundate people with that catchphrase, even though it's so great and so Axel. We didn't want to be too on the nose for him. But it's finding its way in and out of almost, and on set I say it almost every other line. 10-100, I'll tell a PA, I'm going 10-100, you follow me? And she'll be like, you want me to follow you? I said, no, that's just a phrase. Come on.
That's awesome.
I'm going to the little boy's room. So that's a good 70s phrase, isn't it? You follow me?
I like it. I like it a
brother.
lot. Yeah.
It's almost as good as you dig.
Like it.
You dig.
You dig.
You dig. Yeah. Or there's others like Sock It To Me. Some character had Sock It To Me. That was a good one.
I came up with my own last night. I told Todd I was going to freak out my because I'm going to put my Christmas tree up this year, Well, I do every year. I'm going to go crazy on it and freak it out.
You're going to freak out your window.
Freak it out.
Yeah, I'm going to freak out my window.
Out. Okay.
Lord have mercy.
Do tell, freak it out. All right.
I'm scared
my
too.
My favorite is still, are you mowing what I'm growing? That's my favorite. you mowing what I'm growing.
Nice.
I did a film recently I wanted to talk because it was very cool. It was directed by Frank Lim, and it was interesting because it's all improvisational. They had a blueprint of a script based on intentions. This is a movie called Home. Not House, which I've also done, but Home, and produced by Jeff Lamb, directed by Frank Lim, with Heather Langenkamp.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Which is super cool. Now, I could be wrong, but Heather kind of hasn't been real active.
Yep. She told us she took a break. Yeah.
Yeah. So I felt very compelled and excited to work with her, because that would be an opportunity that you just like we had talked about. So she's great. And of course, for most actors, though we do have a script, the script is really being built out of our imaginations. It's delightful once you allow yourself to get into that process, but it can be terrifying if you don't have those pages as a safety net.
Right.
And I think we all were like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And now when we did it, we had a heck of a good time. And an actress named Samantha Mumba. And Hugh, she is an Irish pop star. Do you know her?
No, I don't.
You got brought. Of course, you love country music, so you're stuck in Nashville.
That is funny.
That is awesome, Hugh. Now you're not going to live that one down.
I know you're Garth Brooks guy from way back.
That's right, a Scottish kilt-wearing Garth Brooks fan.
I'm excited for that. I'm excited for Rob and for his cast. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be more Rosemary's Baby than Devil's Rejects. Let's put it that way.
I think so.
So
yeah.
I hope everybody is tolerant of that, as they should be. He's going to give you what you want, even when you don't. He's like Nanny McPhee. What does she say? I'll give you what you want when you don't know you want it. Or
there you go.
Maybe Mick Jagger said that you can't always get what you want, but you get what you need. That's where we're going. Okay, I got one of them right.
That's awesome.
It's funny. Lone Ranger. You know what? There's this little movie called The Lone Ranger with one of our all-time favorites, Johnny Depp, playing the Native American Tonto, and he's really good in it.
Yeah.
He's really good. And this is going to be, what's great is it's going to reintroduce the Western and the Lone Ranger to a whole new generation.
I agree.
Plural. And that needs to happen. You know, I have a 4.5-year-old, and we go to birthday parties, and we go to pirates parties, and we go to princess parties, and we go to space parties, but we never go to cowboy parties. When I was growing up, it was cowboys and Indians all the time, and we just don't do it anymore. And so I'm ever so hopeful, even though we've had a fair share of good Westerns, The Proposition being my favorite. But I am ever so hopeful the Lone Ranger lands the Western back in our genre system and state of mind, because I think
it will. Yeah.
That's Americana, and not just Americana. I think even Europe appreciates the Western of America. You know, it's fantasy. So Johnny's fantastic in it, as is the Lone Ranger, Armie Hammer. That guy is great. I mean, he's tall, he's handsome, he can ride a horse, he can act, he can play guitar, he can fly an airplane, he can do anything.
And he's been rumored to be a casting choice for the next Batman reboot.
I've heard that, and I think it's a great choice.
I think so too.
He could do it. He could do it, and he's the sweetest guy. I mean, it's some guys that have everything and you don't like them. This is a guy that has everything and you really like him. You know, and so he and Johnny were outstanding, and Gore Verbinski, the director, was too. And it was a long ride, but they got it done. So they're in the editing process, and I think Mr. Bruckheimer will get that one out for us this coming summer. And I think we're probably going to go to our theme parks of Disney and see Western worlds again, where those pirate ships used to be.
There you go.
You know, I think
do both.
I think we might. So I'm excited to be a part of that as well. And
that'll be fun.
You know, those are all real gems. You have to just show up, and what that means, that's a big metaphor for just saying yes. No's an awful hard word to say because you worry, but yes, sometimes a hard word to say because you worry. And I think sometimes you have to throw it out there and just say yes. Do it. And you will invariably be delighted by what comes of it. You know, that goes for a date. That goes for trying creamed broccoli. that goes, which I like, but that goes for, all those things to, yes, I'll do that movie, or yes, I want to be an actor, or yes, I want to play my guitar at the coffee shop and make $20. I'm okay. That's yes, I will play drums for your garage rock band.
And yes, we are out of time. Night. It's no fair because I could talk to you the entire show, but I'm getting the wave, and it's horrible to have to cut you off because, like I told Amanda, next time you're invited, we want you for the whole 2 hours.
Yes.
And so why didn't you become for 2 hours?
Do it. We'll have topic questions and call-ins.
That's right. That's right.
We'll get dug into it. That would be and we won't take so long. I'll be available.
Very
I'm
good.
wishing everyone a happy and safe holiday season, wherever you may be, and whatever you may be choosing to celebrate. I think just celebrate the day. It's a good world, and we're so blessed to have each other and to be a part of each other's lives and to be able to talk on the air like this. So I thank you for bringing that to us, Nightwatch.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Such a delight to be here.
Well, we love having you, man. We love you dearly. You're part of the family, and we can't wait to talk again soon.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Soon it will be. It will be soon.
Thank you.
And remember, if I don't see you tomorrow, hello today.
That's right. Thank you, my friend. Thank you very much.
All right.
You have a great evening.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Adios.
Woo! Lew Temple, everybody. Wow.
Yay.
Amazing interview. Amazing. Real quick before we go to break, because we got to go to break. We're running a few minutes behind here. We got Jim Wynorski coming on next to talk about his career, his adventures in the world of low-budget filmmaking. But first, Johnny, we got something for you, buddy.
We could wait.
No, this is for you, buddy.
Nope,
This is all for you.
Here's Johnny. I get my thing in action. Johnny. To be, to see, to feel, to live. Johnny. That's what's happening. I put my heart in action. Johnny. To run, to go, to get, to give.
Thank you very much. Greetings, salutations.
I think I plot, I plan, I dream, turning in towards creation. I make, I write, I dance, I sing, when I'm feeling really active. I run, I ride, I swim, I fly, Johnny. To work, to play, to live, to love.
You've reached Johnny Reed.
Johnny.
I think you hurt my head real bad.
Thank you very much.
Nice.
Yay.
Oh, wow.
Johnny Reed theme song, ladies and gentlemen, version 1.
I love that song.
We'll be back right after this.
Speak to you later.
Hello, you maniacs of the dark. This is King Diamond, and you're listening to Nightwatch. You better keep hanging here. Nightwatch.